Before lunch, I told you that our work is built on relationships. People who know your name, who understand your family, and who don't leave when it gets tough. Every one of our scholars has a program manager who does exactly that. They're the person a student calls when they don't know what to do next, whether it's a college essay, a tough conversation at home, or a moment where they just need someone in their corner. You'll learn more about the student experience from our student speaker today, Diana Villatoro Sorto. I've gotten to know Diana through this process, and what strikes me most is she carries a sense of purpose that goes far beyond herself. Everything she does is connected to family, her community, and the people she wants to lift as she rises. Pair that with the ongoing one-on-one support that Emerge provides, and you've got something truly powerful. This year, Emerge scholars have earned acceptances to schools like MIT, Stanford, Yale, Rice, and Johns Hopkins. And I can't wait for you to hear where Diana is headed. I've got goosebumps thinking about it. It is my absolute honor to introduce you to Diana Villatoro Sorto.
I was 6 years old, standing at the base of the mountain near my village in El Salvador, staring up a path that looked impossibly long for my tiny legs. That day, the climb felt especially impossible because my big brother wasn't there. He was usually the one who carried me when I got tired, when my feet ached and my legs refused to keep going. He will lift me onto his back and make me feel like I was on top of the world. But that day, it was just me and my mother. We stood at the base of a mountain that led to my Aunt Cleofa's house. The sun burned overhead. The stone road beneath my sandals was so hot, I can feel it through my soles. Every 20 steps, I stopped, hands on my knees, trying to catch my breath. I wanted to sit down in the shade and stay there. But my mother knelt beside me and said that if I kept going, she would buy me ice cream at the top. And for 6-year-old me, that was enough. So I stood up, stopped complaining, and kept walking, step by step, through the heat until we finally reached the top. That day, I didn't just earn ice cream. I learned something I carried with me ever since, that perseverance is built one step at a time, and that it helps to have someone besides you who believes the top is worth reaching. Good afternoon. My name is Diana Villatoro Sorto. I'm an Emerge scholar and a senior in Klein Collins High School in Klein ISD. Today, I want to share with you how Emerge changed the trajectory of my life. When I was 8 years old, my family moved to the United States. On the plane, my very first flight, I imagined we were gonna live in one of those houses near the beach. You know, those big ones you see in Hollywood movies. Instead, we moved to Pasadena, Texas. No beach. And 5 of us in 1 bedroom in my uncle's home. Everything was new, but what made it the hardest was that I didn't speak English and I didn't understand the rules. Some kids call me strange, others call me campesina, peasant, which hurt more than anything because I was doing the very best I could. I tried to hold tears at home because I knew my parents had enough to worry about. My older brother, the same one who gave me piggyback rides up the mountain, had once dreamed of studying civil engineering, but when he came to this country, he went straight to work at 17. So we could get established, so we could move out of one cramped room, and so my younger sister and I could have more stability than he ever did. He discarded his dreams for duty. My mother, who had earned a degree in business back in El Salvador, couldn't use it here. Instead of working in an office, she put on a hairnet and an apron and went to work in a school cafeteria. Honest and honorable work, but not the future she had imagined. For much of my childhood, my parents were always working. After school, I took care of my younger sister, homework, cooking, chores. On weekends, my mom and I sold tamales to help my uncle afford his dialysis treatments. Dreaming mattered, but responsibility always came first. My mother, overwhelmed by everything our family was carrying, struggled with her mental health and had to be away for a time. While my father and brother worked, I became the one holding our household together. But over time, because of all those sacrifices, things began to stabilize. And for the first time, I had space, not just physical space, mental space. When I started high school, I wanted to focus on school, focus on my future. I knew I wanted something different than the path my brother was forced to take. I knew there was a top, I just couldn't see it yet. That's when Emerge came into my life and everything changed. I remember the day they pulled me out of my English class. They told us about a program that will help students not just apply to college, but get into the top schools across the country and actually afford to go. I started filling out the application immediately. I was walking to class while doing it. I didn't even want to step into the classroom until I was finished. My teacher saw me in the hallway, still writing, and let me stay outside the door until I was done. Thanks, Mr. G. I knew this was something I could not let go of. And what I found in Emerge was not just help with applications. It was the village I didn't know I was missing. Through Emerge, I visited college campuses I never knew existed and sat in financial aid workshops where for the first time, someone showed me and my family that a top university didn't have to mean impossible depth. I met other students from across Houston who were carrying the same weight I was, and for the first time, I didn't feel alone in that. Behind every one of us is a program manager who walked with us every step of the way. Mine was Andrea Pedraza. When deadlines piled up, she helped me break them down. When doubt crept in, she reminded me that I belonged in these spaces. One of my favorite memories is this past Halloween. While my friends were out, I was in a Zoom call with Miss Pedraza working on a college application until midnight. And the very next day, I spent 3 hours on a phone call with my Emerge mentor, Miss Audrey, who's a total lifesaver. Emerge didn't just support my dream, they structured it, they strengthened it, they helped make it real. And I know many of you may be wondering where I'll be spending the next 4 years. I want to share this moment with all of you, my village, because you helped lift me here. This fall, I'll be joining the class of 2030 at Princeton University! Thank you. When I told my uncle, my mom's brother, the same one whose house we moved into when we first came to this country, something I'll never forget happened. He's a quiet man, serious, not someone who shows emotion easily. But when he heard the news, he cried. I had never seen him cry before. In that moment, I realized this was not just my achievement. It belonged to my parents who sacrificed their dreams so I could have mine, to my brother who set his aside so I could keep climbing, and to my little sister who's watching closely because now she gets to dream even earlier I did. And her dreams can be bigger because she has seen that they are possible. Princeton is where my journey continues, but Houston, this village, is This village is where I plan to come back to. I want to return as a neurologist and serve the city that has invested in me. And that is the power of this village. That is what happens when you invest in Emerge scholars. We come back. Right now, somewhere in Houston, there's another student climbing her own mountain. She's taking care of siblings. He's translating for his family. They are working harder than anyone sees. And they have everything it takes to reach the top. They just need someone to walk beside them and say, you belong here. You are not doing this alone. And that is what Emerge does. That is what your support makes possible. I want to close with this. I still think about that 6-year-old girl standing at the base of a mountain, staring up a path that looked impossibly long. She didn't know she would move to a new country, learn a new language, or one day stand on the stage and say the words, Princeton University. She just knew that if someone believed the top was worth reaching, she will keep climbing. Sometimes that's all it takes. One person, one step, one moment where someone says, keep going, I'm right here. And sometimes it's giving someone else a hand or even a piggyback ride so they can reach the top of their mountain too. Thank you.